Last week we rebuilt a modern car in the form of the GT86 for a hill climb challenge, whereas today we're going to be rolling back the years and doing something a little bit more classic. We're going to be rebuilding a classic car and then making it into a drag car. So without further ado, let's jump in and I'll explain exactly how this is going to work. So obviously I'm from Europe and I want to do something a little bit more European than what the Americans would do with their American muscle cars. So what we're going to be doing is, if I can find it, we're going to be building a Porsche, a classic Porsche, and in particular the Porsche 944 Turbo here from 1989. So it is obviously a classic car with pop-up headlights, quite a classic if you will, as you have a look around it. This is what we're going to be turning into an absolute beast. So costs about 35k. Don't really worry about costs today. We're not doing a challenge where we got a budget to do it in. We're just going to build it and race it, a little bit like what we did with the Twinkie and a little bit like what we did with my first car. So as you can see, here it is looking very, very pretty. But we don't really care about looks. We aren't going for looks today. We're going for speed and power. Jeremy Clarkson's two favourite things. So if I have a look, this is our stock look. If we look at it, 247 horsepower, that's going to go up a lot. Weighs about 3,000 pounds. So it's quite a heavy car that's got not a lot of horsepower for Forza. It's also not got a hell of a lot of torque, which isn't good in the drag race, but we are going to change that today by doing our first step of putting some modifications into this. So we're going to start off obviously with an engine swap, and you know what? We need all the horsepower we can get today, so we are going to put a racing 3-litre engine in it, giving us just about 800 horsepower. We're going to obviously swap it to all-wheel drive because we found out that a rear-wheel drive car in a drag race does not work when we found out with the Volkswagen Golf R. Then obviously moving into the basic mods, we're going to be doing stuff like changing the fuel system, which is going to give us obviously a lot more torque. As you can see, the torque in this is absolutely nuts now, and we're closing on 1,000 horsepower. We've got the engine block, obviously, which does take us over 1,000 horsepower, and look at that, gone from 200 to 700 foot-pounds of torque. And then obviously our turbo, we're going to put a race turbo with anti-lag in. Don't worry too much about the weight, we are going to solve that, obviously. And obviously, when we come to the end of the drag strip, the car's going to need to brake. So we're going to want to put some good brakes on it, especially if we're just going to be driving this around testing it. We're also going to want to put a nice race setup for it, because we want this to be as low to the ground as possible for looks, I suppose. Then we're going to put in some anti-roll bars, because obviously we want to change how the weight in this is. We want to up obviously the acceleration and the launch as well, so we are going to put a roll cage in it while reducing the weight obviously by 500 pounds, giving us under 3,000 pounds of weight with 2,750 horsepower. As for the drivetrain, I normally just leave the stock in, because I find by the time you get to the end of the drag race you don't need other drivetrain. We're obviously going to be putting in a race diff because fun. We're going to want to put some good grippy tyres on, obviously, like these Forza Horizon ones, except we're going to match the paintwork and go for some red ones here, as you can see. We could actually put some slick race compound on, which we might do. I didn't do that before, but I've now found it, and I think that might work better, actually. Now, obviously, we want to maximise our launch capabilities, which is ultimately the goal. So we've now got 10 acceleration and 10 launch. We're going to want to put some slightly bigger front rims on, because you don't want to be flying out into the other lanes of the drag race. We want to go straight forward right to the end and not have to fly off the track and come back on. We may also want to do some extra weight reduction by installing some different rims and reducing the weight, and I quite like the look of those actually. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but this car is gradually starting to look a little bit more exciting. Obviously we've got the track width upgrades and everything. Now the aero, I don't like Forza stuff, no one likes Forza stuff, but for the purpose of this we're going to stick the Forza aero on just to up our performance, because we want to win this drag race. We want to have a comeback after the last video. If you haven't watched that video, go and have a look. It is definitely worth the watch. So 123,000 quid worth of upgrades here, and we're going to stick all of those in and create our 944 turbo. Now obviously we can't go in with this dodgy regular red look to it. It's gonna have to have a decent livery. So I didn't do the final design earlier because I wanted to just get into it. But we want to go for something sporty, something exciting. We can either go for the Forza livery here, which I will get up for us. It's going to apply it to the car, but we may not go for this one. We may go for something else. Now this is more of the Dakar look to it. So looking at it with the Dakar livery on it, this is what it looks like. And I quite like it. It's quite good. It gives you a nice look to the rims, obviously. But the other option we do have is the sort of like Martini livery, a classic race livery, if you will. This is what the other livery looks like, and I quite like this. I think it looks good. It matches. It's got the nice silver rims, the big water bucket at the back, obviously with the Forza extras on it. But I'll tell you what, looking at it from here, looks quite good. I think this is probably what we're going to go for then. It does really suit the whole look of it. Obviously with the headlights up, it's looking really, really good. And it's going to be a very good drag car, I can assure you. I did a test when I did it with my friends, and we were going to do a 100k challenge, so I built the car just to test it. And yeah, it looked really, really good. As you can hear. And yeah, this car, I was going to build it, and I built it, and I took it down the drag strip, and I went through the speed trap, and I broke my record on it. So this thing's pretty fast. So without further ado, let's roll it out and get it out on the road. The handling in this car is pretty awful, so you have to be careful. You can only really put like 50% throttle on. So obviously when I say 50% throttle, I just mean literally like that much. You'll see. If I put full throttle when I come around this corner, there's like no turning at all, and every now and again when you're going along you almost start drifting. Now what we're going to do, I don't know if it's because I let it rear wheel drive, I might have done, but here we go. So this is a quick test of how quick it is. Let's do some, we might want to do some tuning because it's not quite up to spec. As you can see with the final drive being there, we want the final drive to be all the way at pretty much the end here. With Sith here basically nearly disappearing, as you can see. Now this is a new setup, so having a look at it. There we go, that's much more like it. This is gripping to the road quite well. I've stuck the Forza aero on. I think my other one went 231. So this might be a tad slower, but it's definitely a lot more grippy. And I think it's going to be worth using. Boom! Oh god. Okay. That worked. Anyway, without further ado, let's get going and actually do the drag race. So here we are. We could use all of these very fancy cars, as you can see, but we're going to be using our 1,300 horsepower Porsche 944, and we're going to see if we can win a drag race. We're going to have the usual 3 attempts to win, and we're going to see if we can do it. I'm sure we can, but you know, look at it though, it just looks so good. And the livery actually matches my race suit, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so without further ado, let's get it going. Come on. There we go. Off we go. Absolutely obliterated. See you later, alligator. Apart from this little geezer here. Oh! That ended up quite close between the Beamer and me there. But I think I came out just ahead. Wow, that was close. I want to get a good replay on that actually, because flipping heck, it was within like millimeters there. Wow. Yes, we're getting a good pull away. There he is. There's the Beamer. And look at him. He just gets a sudden pull away. That's really, really weird. But we obviously are able to come out ahead, so it doesn't really matter. Now, we are going to do another attempt and just see if we can get another win in this car, because obviously it's been a little bit of a shorter video so far, so let's get another one, another good race out of the way. Okay, so here we go for a second attempt. Here we go. It's a good start. We're pulling the way ahead again here. That Beamer's still almost here, but we are pulling away nicely. There he goes. I think he might have beat me. Oh, yes! Come on. That's even closer between us, surely. Holy. He just comes so close. I don't get it. He's an absolute beast. Here we go. Let's have a quick look. So, yeah, we are absolutely... We're absolutely gone here, and he just appears. Look at him go. I don't get it. That's crazy. Okay, and thank you so much for watching today's video. Let's do a few burnouts just to say goodbye, and thank you so much for watching today's video. Hope you all did enjoy. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, you know the rest. Everyone else told you millions and millions of times, I am sure. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.